Alright guys, so today I'm gonna start tearing the engine out of the A4. It's a standard 3.0 V6 naturally aspirated engine. So yeah, I'm gonna remove the front end, remove the headlights, remove the front bumper, remove the front core support, pull the hood off, start disconnecting wiring, basically show you everything that has to come off. It doesn't have to come off, but it makes it way easier if you pull the core support completely off instead of just putting it in the service position. I take the whole thing all the way off. So show you how I do that, and I'll do it all without disconnecting the air conditioning system because I don't want to have to recharge it. The AC in this car actually works, so I don't want to have to recharge it. Last time I couldn't get it working because of the wiring. Needed another trigger, but now that I've got the A6, I should be able to use the computer that it uses for cycling the AC on and off. It may require a little bit more involved wiring, possibly reprogramming of the computer, but no big deal. I mean, I love doing electrical stuff, so we'll just see where that takes us. But that's the plan. Tear this engine, well, start tearing this engine out. I don't know if I'll get it all out today or not because I got a couple things I got to do besides working on this. So we'll see what gets done, and hopefully I make a pretty good bit of progress. Okay, so I kind of screwed up with the first round of video of dismantling this A4. I've already got the whole front end tore apart, as you can see. I thought I had it on time-lapse, but apparently I had it on slow motion. And nobody wants to watch me working on this car in slow motion as long as it took me to take the front end apart. So now I'm going to fix it. We're going to have it in time-lapse, so it'll go a little quicker. And hope you enjoy. What's up, guys? Just got off work. Ran out of time yesterday when I was trying to do the video of pulling this motor. We got it all out. ran out of battery life, I guess is a better way to put it, not time, because I screwed up and did the first set of the video on slow-mo, which you can be able to tell when you watch this video. I had to basically fast forward through it while I was screen recording it, so it's not going to look right, but whatever. It shows what I did. But we were able to get the motor out, got it sitting down in front of the car. I'm going to show you pretty much what I did, or where I'm at now, and then show you how I got the AC sitting off to the side and everything like that. So here goes. So I got the motor out, pulled it with the computer, wiring harness, and everything still attached. And I did pull this one with the transmission. I thought about leaving it in there, but it's much easier to pull it with the transmission. So I just pulled the whole freaking thing. Did not pull the CV axles. I just unbolted them from the transmission and pulled it out. Unbolted the shifter. This power steering line right here actually has to be removed. I got to remove this cover right here and take this line out and put the line from the A6 on here because it goes to a different spot. This one goes up onto the passenger side of the engine, and the one on the A6 comes up through the center, and it actually comes in like this way, not this way. But you can see all front ends off. We did it without pulling the hood, but here's the whole AC system. I did not break it apart. You're able to unbolt it and slide it off. The only thing that you have to do in order to take the AC off without disconnecting any of the lines is you have to remove the oil cooler because of these hoses right here, because of this hose and that hose. So that hose right there and this hose right here block it because your AC lines come down through here and they wrap underneath here. So if you take this off, the whole AC compressor can come out through the front of the motor. But I'm not using anything off of this motor except for the transmission and the flywheel. I did look at it when I had it pulled out, and it looks like the oil pan is the same. The lower oil pan looks like it's the same for the 3.0 and the 2.7. So I'm going to pull it off and see if it matches. If it does, then I'm just going to use that instead of purchasing a new oil pan. The other thing that I want to point out is that bracket right there. So this bracket right here for the snub mount. On the 2.7, it's offset to one side. In order to put the 2.7 into this car, I have to use that bracket, or it won't line up with the core support where the snub mount goes on the core support. Last time I did this, I did it on a 1.8 liter car, and I had to modify the core support, but on the 4.2 and on the 3.0 that I've done previously, I didn't have to modify core support, but I did have to use the bracket off of a 3.0 liter. So just a little FYI. The all the drive accessories are the same for the 3.0 to the 2.7. 2.8's the same as the 2.7. So you can use your original alternator, your original pulleys and whatnot, but and your original AC compressor. The problem with the AC is it doesn't have in the new A4, the AC is triggered by the ECM, and on the older A6, the AC was triggered by the climate control computer. So there's a couple guys that have actually added a secondary pressure switch to the condenser. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try and get it to work on the computer side instead of messing, because if I add another pressure switch to that condenser, I actually have to break the system open, vacuum it down, and recharge it, and I don't want to open that system because I know it blows freaking snowballs out of it right now. Basically, it's super freaking cold. Even though the car was smoking like a freight train, I turned the AC on while it was running, and that stuff was blowing really freaking cold, so I don't want to mess with it. If it was already not working, it wouldn't be a problem, but because it's in a fully functioning capacity right now, I don't want to do anything to jeopardize that system working correctly
and then open a can of worms where I got to start replacing the freaking dryer and the condenser, the evaporator, any of that crap. So if I can keep that system sealed, all the better. I may also do the coil pack conversions, because on the 2.7 liter, it still has the resistors that mount over on top of the air box, and it's only got 3 wires going to the coils. These coils are the push-in style, like what's on the R8 and the newer 2.0 TSI and FSI motors. They're better quality packs and they're cheaper to replace. So, but these are 4-wire. The ones that are on the 2.7 are 3-wire. So I have to make jumpers, or they sell a kit to just swap it over. But I have all the stuff here to do it myself. So I'm not going to pay $300 for a kit. I'm going to make it my damn self and save myself $300. I've got all the parts here to do it, so I'm going to do it. Did it to my last one and it worked out great, so I'm going to do it to this one too. The only thing that I'll have to get is I'll have to get an adapter plate that bolts on to the valve cover on the 2.7 so that it sits up higher, because these coils are longer than the ones that are in the 2.7 currently. And I don't know if you can notice when we were pulling the motor out, but I thought I had everything disconnected and I kind of screwed up. So just for if anybody else is trying to do this based off of what they're seeing in these videos, I actually broke this and this. Luckily, I have another one on that A6 that I can steal. But because I broke this, I'm gonna have to replace it, because that's a vacuum tank. And with it being a turbo car and with it being a manual transmission, I could start having problems with my brakes if I don't have that vacuum canister. But it broke the entire fitting off. It broke the top off of here. There was a T here, and it hooked up to this line right here. You can see it snapped off right there. But that's basically the gist of it. All my heat shielding looks good. I am gonna scrub all this freaking grease and grime and just shit out of here. I'm gonna try and I did notice when I was pulling the motor, I've got a bad CV axle. I didn't know it was bad, but like I say, I got the car for $800. I'm not worried if I got to replace a CV axle. It is what it is. The only thing that sucks is the A6 was wrecked on that same side, so I can't steal the freaking CV axle out of that one. Not that I even think it would work. I don't think it would work, because I think the wheelbase is wider. But, or not the wheelbase, but the width. The track width. But I'll cross that bridge when I get there. But I am going to do the upgrade JHM shifter rebuild, the bushings for here, and then the rebuild for this right here. And I may even get the crossover, the heavy duty crossover arm that they sell. I did it on my last one, and it made I think it made a big difference on how the shifter felt. So that's the route that I'm going to take. But yeah, motor mount brackets, don't have to do anything with those. The motor mounts for the 2.7 will bolt right into them. And these motor mount brackets are the same on 1.8, 2.8, 3.0, 2.7. I think the only ones that are different are the 4.2. When I did the S4 conversion, I did have to change these motor mounts, and I may not have had to if I had a different model, but the one that I had, the motor mounts wouldn't work, and I had to source a set of these mounts so that I could mount it correctly. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. And as you can see, this car only has one fuel line, and the 2.7 requires 2. So I do have to add that fuel return line. That's a good point to be at right there. But we've got I've got a little bit more work to do. I'm gonna pull the catalytic converters off of here, separate it from the transmission, and then I'm going to separate the transmission from the engine, pull the pressure plate, flywheel, and the clutch disc, and pull the oil pan, and then I'm basically done with this motor. I don't think I'm going to do anything else to this engine except for pull the coil packs. But that's, yeah, I think that's it. I also wanted to make a point that when I'm working on anything, I always put my screws back where they came from so that I know where all my hardware came from. Makes it much easier to find stuff, keep stuff organized. I know a lot of people don't like doing that because it just adds time to the build. But for the couple seconds that it adds, it saves minutes. So I mean, you can see I put all my hardware back in just so that I don't lose anything. All hardware is back in here, there. But that's where the snub mount goes. And I am going to get an upgraded bushing for the snub mount. I am not going to go with the pulley driven fan. I'm going to use the 2 electric fans. I can go either direction with it, but I am going to use the electric fans. Less pull on the motor itself. And I'm not going to run the secondary air injection. The M box that I'm going to be running on the ECU does not, with a manual transmission, it does not look for secondary air. This is the secondary air off of the, yeah, this is the secondary air off of the A4. The secondary air off of the A6 is actually mounted on the back end of the motor, and I had to remove it when I was removing the motor from the A6. I mean, I didn't have to, but I did anyway because I knew I wasn't using it. But got the A6 motor still where it was in the last video, but I did receive all of my parts to rebuild it. I think they're in the house, but I got all new timing components, head gasket set, and I think that's it. As far as what I ordered, the rest of the stuff I'm going to pick up at the auto parts store. I'm going to put new spark plugs in it, and you can see here, these are the coil packs that bolt in, and they're only 3 leads. Like I was saying on the other ones, they're 4 leads. So they sell ECS tuning, plus a couple other places. I can get a cheap one off of eBay. Sells a billet plate that bolts in here, and your coil packs just push down into it, because like I say, the height of them, they'll stick up about that much higher. But gonna get rid of the so these are the secondary air injection valves. I'm gonna get rid of these. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually cut it off right here, and then I'm gonna make a flat steel plate to go behind this piece. They sell block off plates, but they're like 50 bucks, and I've got scrap metal and gaskets, or gasket material, so I can make my own. And I mean, I'm trying to do this on a budget, so I'm not going to go buying freaking thousands and thousands of dollars worth of parts. I'm trying to do this car cheap but reliable. So you're going to see me do some new stuff, you're going to see me use some old stuff, but I'm trying to keep the cost of the build down to a minimum. And this is the power steering line that has to be replaced, and these ugly ass mats are what was in the A4 when I got it. I don't know what the hell the person that owned it was thinking, but there's no way those god awful things are staying in my car. So I'm using them as oil catch pan right now. So, but this is the power steering line that has to be replaced, and as you can see, completely different bend. See, now it's going to sit out and go to the side, whereas the other one was coming out this way. So completely different power steering line. The first time I built one of these, I didn't know I had to change that, and it took me like 3 weeks to find the right freaking power steering line. So just know that going into it, you absolutely have to have that power steering line. Other than that, everything else I think I've covered. So when I come up with anything else that's different, I'll do an update on this. But Now that the motor's out of the A4, I'm gonna, like I say, I'm gonna pull the exhaust, separate the transmission, pull the flywheel, pressure plate, clutch, and then the lower oil pan, and then and the coil packs, and then I'll be ready to get rid of that engine, and I'll start rebuilding this 2.7. So first thing I'm gonna do is tear everything off of it except for the valve covers, the heads, and it's gonna be the heads, valve cover, block, and oil pan. And then I'm gonna pressure wash the shit out of it, degrease it, pressure wash it again, degrease it, pressure wash it again, try and get it as clean as I can. Then after I get it clean on the outside, then I'm gonna pull the valve covers, pull the cams, pull the heads, replace the head gaskets, put the heads back on, put the cams back in, replace the rear tensioner and chains and guides, and then replace the front tensioner, chains, and guides. And then I'll start replacing all the gaskets, replacing all the timing components and all that. So hopefully you'll stick around for the entire build. I'm hoping to have this thing done over the next 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. Because I'm doing it in my spare time, I can't do it as fast as I did last time. Last time I built it, it took me, I think, a week and 3 days. So this time it's going to take me a little bit longer because I'm working on a little bit different time schedule. My work volume has increased, and I travel for work, so I'm not home every day. But the weather's getting nicer and the days are getting longer, so I may have more time outside to work on it. So we'll just have to see what happens. But hopefully you guys will stick around for the entire build, and we'll see where this goes. But hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great day.